Good evening, everyone. The meeting will please come to order. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. My name is Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And on behalf of all of my colleagues, again, we want to thank everyone who has joined us virtually for this evening's meeting. And we have a pretty short agenda, but again, we want to thank everyone for joining us. This time, we're going to start with our opening prayer by Akira, Granada.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
to
allegiance
the
to the flag
of the United
of
States
the United States of America,
to the republic
to the republic
for
which stands
God,
one nation
indivisible,
under
with
God,
justice for all.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, can please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here,
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Present.
Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Walsh,
Here.
President Congo.
Here, just so we all know that council members Darby and Harley did ask to be excused, and Councilman Nathan Field is running a little bit behind schedule.
That's 9 present and 4 absent, Councilman President Congo.
All right, thank you. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting.
7/2022 City Council met in regular session virtually with remote participation on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Akira, Deputy City Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City Council.
second,
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have the city treasurer's report.
April 21st, 2022. Total investment, $475,968,194.56. Total cash on hand, $13,125,369.86. Grand total, $489,093,564.42. Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second,
It's been properly moved and seconded that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
Second. I'm sorry.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. If any council members have any presentations, please raise your hands.
I do, Council President. Thank you. My
Okay.
hand. Can you see? Oh, there it is. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a presentation to read for Is Mark on the line?
Councilwoman,
Hi,
Mark is
Councilmember
on the
Oliver.
line.
I'm on. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. Okay, I'm ready. The sponsor is Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver. This is for LGBTQ month, the month of April. They is one of the months they hold a lot of events, so I just thought it was important to honor them. This is from Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver. Whereas this is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving the recognition and acknowledgement. Equality Delaware is one of such organizations. Whereas approximately 1 in 20 Delawareans identify as LGBTQ. Delawareans demonstrate their commitment to sexual and gender diversities by welcoming the largest LGBTQ representation in the history of Delaware General Assembly. In 2022, State Senator Sarah McBride became the highest ranking transgender elected official in the United States history. Eric Morrison, the first openly gay man in the State House, and Maria Pinkett, the first openly gay woman to be elected in the Senate, in the State Senate. Whereas we, Wilmington City Council, recognize our LGBTQ citizens as valued community members. The City of Wilmington earned the top ranking in the state of Delaware by the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equity Index in 2021 for LGBTQ exclusive law and policies. And whereas homophobic, biphobic, transphobic remains prevalent, both nationally and locally. At least 75 transgenders or gender non-conforming Americans lost their lives to violent crimes in 2021. LGBTQ and gender non-conforming people are almost 4 times most likely to be victims of violent crimes than non-LGBTQs and gender non-conforming people. Crimes motivated by victims' sexual orientation account for 31% of all Delawarean hate crimes in 2020. Now there it be resolved by the Council of City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to commend Lisa Goodman, Mark Perman, leaders of Equity Delaware for their ongoing strides and promotion and their efforts to bring attention to the issues affected by LGBTQ community members. I want to say that my nephew is a strong advocate in the LGBTQ in New York City. So he did text me today and thank me for supporting the LGBTQ month. Thank you very much. Mark, would you like to say a few words? And I would like to say that Sarah McBride sent some remarks, but I won't quote them, but she just wanted to thank City Council for recognizing this organization as well as herself, along with hundreds of thousands of LGBTQ individuals. Mark, would you like to say a few words, please?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Oliver. We really appreciate the recognition, and I'm happy to accept that resolution on behalf of our entire organization, Equality Delaware, all of our volunteers, our members, and our allies throughout the state of Delaware. And that includes the city of Wilmington that has been a strong ally of ours throughout the years and a good partner. We had our very first press conference in Freedom Plaza to announce the marriage equality bill that we were running back in 2013. And ever since then, the city has been very supportive and has taken great strides to increase its municipal index score with HRC. And we truly appreciate everything that the city does to make LGBTQ people feel welcome in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know all of y'all are busy tonight. Daniel Walker had also texted me and said, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to say anything? Council members?
Councilwoman Field, I see you have your hand raised. Is that for your?
Well, it's for both, but I just want to say, I think this is a good recognition, and I'm really happy that you brought this forth. I know that we have a lot of friends that are a part of that. I say it wrong all the time, so you have to excuse me, but a part of that organization. And I just love you, and I support you, and I'm happy that this is your month. So please enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member Gray.
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on the other comments. I'm so happy that we are acknowledging this month and that we're being supportive of our community. It is a large community that people don't realize if they aren't involved with anyone that's part of the community. So I thank you again, Councilman, for bringing this to our attention, and enjoy the rest of the month. And I hope you get a lot of recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, take it back to you, Councilwoman Oliver.
Thank you, President Congo. No, I'd like to keep it short and simple. Mark, I thank you for coming on and accepting this, this resolution. And if you could pass it on to, could you please let Lisa Goodman know that we support her also, and tell Sarah we said thanks a lot from all City Council, and that will be all. Thanks again.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Oliver. Councilwoman Fields, did you have any recognition resolutions?
Yes, I do, Mr. President. Thank you. Is Bernard Mayo on the line? And Amber Hickman?
Councilwoman, they are on the line.
Oh, okay. I wanted to recognize this young lady. She is from the 5th District, from the Hill, and we have to give our youth the flowers while they're living, and let them know that we appreciate them, because they could be doing so many other things. And this young lady, she's been playing basketball. She came home at the 76ers field house. They won the game. Her family was there to support her. So I just wanted to let her know that her city sees her, and we love her, and we want her to continue to do well. And I want her to do the same thing that Bones did. Go ahead and go to the WNBA and bring and play at one of these field houses or the 76ers place, whatever you got to do. But just continue to do what you're doing, keep your head up, and you have a great family support. So I would like to read the recognition. Let me see. Okay, it's sponsored by me, Councilwoman Brigida Fields, on April the 19th, 2022. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving of recognition and acknowledgement, Bernard Mayo is one such individual. And whereas Bernard Mayo of the University of Massachusetts, UMass, women's basketball team is a hometown hero. Bernard earned a 4-year scholarship to UMass upon graduation from St. Elizabeth High School in Wilmington. During her high school, Bernard scored her 1,000th career point and led in assists, rebounds, and steals. She was ranked 3rd best player in the state and was on the Delaware All-State list for 3 consecutive years. And whereas Bernard Fatty Mayo, as she is affectionately known, started to develop her passion for the game at the tender age of 6 while attending Hilltop Lutheran Neighborhood Center in Wilmington. Bernard went on to play with Alexis I. DuPont Middle School basketball team. The team won the middle school championship 2 years in a row. And whereas this year, the Atlantic 10 Conference announced that their women's basketball finals would be played in Wilmington, Delaware at the Chase Fieldhouse, Brunei was excited to compete in her hometown. This council is pleased to celebrate Brunei as she showcases her talent where her journey began. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council wishes to commend Brunei Mayo for her commitment and dedication to the sport she loves so much. Her accomplishments are an inspiration to us all. Congratulations, Brunei, on a job well done. Brunei, you want to say something, or Coach Amber, you want to say something first?
Sure. I just wanted to thank Wilmington City Council, and especially you, Brigida, for always having our kids in mind, for keeping them in mind, for supporting Boys and Girls Clubs of Delaware, which Brunei is a member of, and just for recognizing her on this awesome accomplishment of, taking the full scholarship to UMass was a big leap of faith for her. And when we heard that she got to come home to compete in the Atlantic 10 tournament this past year, we were just so excited to see her be able to lead her team, to turn around and see all of the people in the stands from Wilmington supporting her. It was just really, really great. And so the tournament will be there for the next 3 years, I believe. So we expect it to grow and grow in popularity and continue to have Wilmington support our hometown kid, Brunei. So thank you guys so much for recognizing her.
Thank you. Brunei.
Hi.
Hi. You're not going to show us your face?
Oh, you want to see me?
Yes. There we go.
I just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate you all so much. And I just want to let you guys know how much it truly means to me to be able to come home in front of friends and family and win a championship. And I look forward to doing it again next year and a year after that. So hopefully we get the job done.
Love you, girl.
How you too.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, I too would like to congratulate the young ladies for doing an outstanding job. I do know Miss Mayo's mother. I'm very familiar with them from the West Side. And Amber, congratulations. I saw y'all down the field house briefly. And, I have to echo with Councilwoman Ms. Fields said, Councilwoman Fields, we do have, you just hear about a lot of youth. Not a lot. You do hear about the youth that's doing bad all the time, but we don't always shine a light on the youth that's really doing very well. And I just like to congratulate these young ladies and hope they continue to, live life and with, do the best they can do with their endeavors. And congratulations, because y'all doing so well. I just went to see y'all on TV. And don't forget, city council members supported y'all when y'all make it big. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, we'll take it back to you, Councilwoman Fields.
That is all, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Congratulations, ladies. Just want to acknowledge that Councilman Spadola also, he did also ask to be excused. And we do have some sympathy resolutions that I want to acknowledge from Councilwoman Carrera, a sympathy resolution for Manuel Diaz Rivas. From Councilwoman Oliver, sympathy resolutions for Annette Mitchell, Cherie Lynn West, and Robert Flonnery, and a recognition resolution for former Mayor James H. Sills from Councilwoman Walsh, and another recognition resolution recognizing Meals on Wheels Delaware 2022 from Councilman Johnson, and recognizing Dr. Edie Maloka and Professor Ezra Aron from the Center of Global Africa from Councilwoman Harley. At this time, also would like to add to the agenda results, a resolution recognizing Mount Salem United Methodist Church, their 175th anniversary, and that is sponsored by Councilwoman Walsh. At this time, we will go to public comment. Again, this is a friendly reminder. There is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. The time limit is around 3 minutes. And please do not address any council members specifically. Please keep your comments general. We will give you a friendly reminder when you have around 30 seconds left during your comments. So at this time, I believe we have 2 people who signed up. We have a few people who signed up. First, we have Donald Farrell from the 4th District.
Thank you very much. I'd like to talk about SB 149, and it has to deal with police accountability and police transparency. It's an effort to make the Wilmington Police Department more transparent and accountable to the city of Wilmington. Some of the changes that the community would like to see, unfortunately, are only able to be changed if the collective bargaining agreement of the Wilmington Police Department was reopened, and if they are amenable. Now, there are many changes that I personally would like to see, and one of them that I'd like to see is a drug test for officers when they discharge their service weapon in the line of duty. Currently, this is up to the discretion of the chief. This needs to change. How do we know if the officer's judgment wasn't impaired? We'll never know. We need to know. The only way for this to happen is if the collective bargaining agreement is reopened. And this can only be accomplished, I'm told, if there is a citywide petition to request that the collective bargaining agreement is reopened and renegotiated to try to get some of the changes dealing with transparency, accountability, and drug testing for officers when they discharge their weapon in the line of duty. Now, I read in the paper today that there is currently a federal lawsuit. Why does it take a lawsuit to bring to light many of the shortcomings of the department? Now, if council is really serious about making the police more transparent and accountable, I would hope that our council members would lead the effort to reopen the collective bargaining agreement, or to help lead the residents to have a petition effort to reopen it so that we can get some of the changes that we like to see. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, and thank you. And I believe that Kevin Malloy also signed up for public comment. I'm not sure if he is still on. Kevin Malloy, are you still on the call?
He is not on the call, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I don't think that anyone else signed up for public comment. Again, we want to thank everyone for your engagement, and please continue to engage with us here on City Council. This time we're going to move to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Councilmember Oliver.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Councilmember Fields,
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Councilmember McCoy,
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present and call for a second and final reading.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. President, can we ask people to mute their phones? I'm sorry.
all right, thank you. Everyone, please remember to mute your phones.
Thank you.
Resolution 22-018, Agenda 0157. Whereas on November 19, 2020, City Council adopted substitute number 1 as amended to ordinance number 20-034, which created a Citizens Complaint Review Board authorized to investigate complaints against law enforcement officers employed by the Wilmington Police Department, make reports of those investigations, and recommend practice changes to the extent consistent with applicable law. And whereas it was City Council's intention that the CCR.
At this time, I move for this resolution to be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea/nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea, nay vote. On the question,
Everyone, I believe one of the public speakers, Mr. Donald, I think elaborated on police reform, and a key linchpin of police reform is SB 149. It was voted out of the Delaware General Assembly in June of 2021. It did pass out of the Senate. And since then, there has been engagement with multiple stakeholders, law enforcement, I believe, community members. The General Assembly has been engaging with everyone. Now, in that year, though, there's been many changes that have been made that unfortunately will not allow the board to be as independent or as effective as it could be. Actually, a Wilmington board will be ineffective because one of the primary tenets of the amended bill would be to decentralize. So the actual complaint investigation. So it would be actually run by a county or state board. Similar to other aspects between the city and state, there's a lot of shared responsibility, but there are certain things that Wilmington needs to be able to implement, such as we run our own police department. Similar to that, we need to be able to run our own citizen complaint review board. So for those reasons, we do strongly urge the Delaware General Assembly to reconsider the amendment. We believe it strips the independence of Wilmington and other cities. And I believe that independence is vital to maintaining an effective system. And not to say the other parameters in the substitution aren't good, they actually are. But I believe it's part of the independent board for local government. That part needs to be reinstated. So we hope they hear us. I know it's going to be the end of the session soon enough. But these changes are vital in order to make sure that citizens have a seat at the table. I was here, over 2 years ago, talking about the same issue, 3 years ago, talking about the same issue. And frankly, we need to stop talking about it, and there needs to be effective action. And we, as a city, are ready to move forward. We're in final stages of engaging a consultant to help implement the board and train our residents, and we'll be vetting residents for our board. And certainly there's going to be a conflict because right now nothing has been passed at the state level. So unfortunately, this is where we are, but we need to move forward in some fashion. Unfortunately, things have moved slower than they need to, but this is too critical of an issue for us to sit on our hands. And I'm normally not this outspoken on some subjects, but this is too important. As Black and Brown community has been talking about this for a long time, not just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so we're tired of hearing it. And this works in conjunction with the other public safety initiatives we talked about with the Akira and the collective, is that we're looking for ways to make our community safer. And one way, and it's been shown studies, is to build trust in a community. And we need to build that trust in the community. We talk about a lot in council, and the Citizen Review Board is part of this. And I need to dispel some myths, because there are myths out there about it. It is not hiring and firing officers. It does not, the collective bargaining agreements still remain in place. So they can make recommendations to discipline officers, but they are not the ultimate sayer. Okay, so that myth needs to be dispelled, because that's something I've heard, and it's not true. The board would not hire and fire officers. It would only make recommendations. And that's what the board wants to be empowered to do. Now, some boards nationally do hire and fire officers. Our board would not be taking that step at this point. So for all those reasons, we need to get started. I know council, we're united on this, and I hope I have my colleagues' support. And we're going to be raising hell and Dover so we can get this passed, because this needs to happen. It needs to be the original version, or make further amendments to this version that was reintroduced. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you. I definitely support this, and I especially support the idea that we need to go ahead and set up our own Citizens Review Board, regardless of what passes or doesn't pass in Dover. You know, we can get a jump start. Hopefully, eventually, something will be passed in Dover that will allow us to have more control over investigating happenings with the police department. But we can get started, as Councilman Johnson said, and set up our board and just help and continue to push Dover toward what we would like to happen. So I totally support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, I too support Councilman Johnson's legislation for the review board, as he stated, and I'm glad he reiterated that for the public. You know, I know he's been getting beat up a lot about why hasn't he sent this to Dover, A, B, C, D, or blah, 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 blah. We are only council members, and when it comes to Dover, or if it comes to Washington, we can only make suggestions. So if the review board in Dover, if the individuals, the legislators in Dover have put in an amendment that makes this stagnated for Wilmington, he cannot override it. So we just are not able to come up with our own board to say we have our own board, because we have to follow most of the time some of the legislation that comes from Dover. So I too say it's a myth out there that this is against police and all, and that's not the truth, because when you have a review board, it may be a case that an officer was accused of something and he was wrongly accused. But I mean, it goes both ways. The bottom line, a review board is just in favor to me for everybody. And I, just like he said, it's the recommendations from the review board, and we have people from all nationalities, from what I heard, that would be on the review board, even a police officer, 2 of them who are retired, who's been retired for years, who were community police officers, who are very well respected, and they wouldn't have a vote on the board. But I just appreciate Councilman Johnson for just bringing it to light, so all of the rhetoric could stop, that he has been holding up this legislation for whatever apparent reason, and that's not the truth. We cannot, just to put it, we just can't override Washington, just like we can't override Dover to a certain extent, but it doesn't mean we don't support the citizens of Wilmington, Delaware. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. And part of exactly what the council member just said, we can't override Dover. From day one of this legislation, it is not that I have ever been against the thought of the legislation. That has never been my stand. My stand is we cannot do this without the amendment to the Police Bill of Rights. And anything that we try to do without that change in that legislation is nothing but giving false promises to our community. And I certainly would never support putting together a commission that's spending somewhat fake money just to have money to put a commission together and just to vote on things that we have no say over anyway. And if Dover sees us doing that, they're not going to pass this bill this year. Any one of us can pick up the phone, as I have done, and called many members in both Kent and Sussex County also to see what the feeling was about amending the full bill. And it is not there. It is not there this year. It is not going to pass. We could go down there with probably 200 people and it still wouldn't matter. Once they dig in, and they have bigger things in their minds to work on. So again, I'm sorry to see this coming up, not because I would be sorry if it passed. I would not be sorry if it passed. I think everybody should be responsible for whatever they're doing. But in this case, we can't be going around and hiring and putting money into committees that really have no say at all in anything. And I think it's very sad. We have a whole lot of other things on the table that we need, and we need the subject of this, but we need the reality check that this is not going to happen this year. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Oliver, for your second round.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've spoken to Councilman Johnson in length regarding this issue, and I think this brings up another subject that we talked about regarding a lobbyist for Dover, for City Council, or just in the past, we had someone who was down there who would keep us updated. So as Councilwoman Walsh has said, I've made a couple of calls to some legislators down there, but it would be good if we had a lobbyist, or not a lobbyist, just, I mean, it could, we had David Karras who used to tell us different things, just somebody that is involved with some of this legislation so they can let us know what's going on ahead of time. So some council members, everybody has a second job and everybody doesn't have time to call. But if somebody could say, well, look, right now we have, 60% of our Black caucus who right now is in favor of this, but we just don't have the votes, or et cetera. I'm just making a scenario, but I just wanted to let Mr. Johnson know that I would be supporting his legislation. And it's unfortunate that down in Dover, we don't have the back end. And maybe this is a time that maybe council, we can send a letter down there. But, I just wanted to let him know I do support this legislation and it is overdue. But as Councilman Walsh said, based on the people I talked to, he doesn't have the support down there. But it still shows that we still, we did our job as city council to support the citizens of the city of Wilmington, to let them know we did try. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to, say to the public, we as city council members, has already been stated, our powers are limited to the changes that we can make. But this resolution obviously is showing support for what is in Dover, to show that we are on point with that's what we would like to see happen. And like Councilmember Walsh said, until the changes are made in Dover, our hands are tied. There's only so much we can do, but we try and we continue to do what we can. But as much as the public comes to our meetings, or when we're out in the community, and the constant, rhetoric that we hear back and forth, everybody has a right to be upset about what's going on. And we know that the time is now for change. But I would like to see that same amount of energy that people use trying to lobby city council members for legislation that we don't have the authority to legislate. If they could get on the bus and carpool and go down to Dover and expend that same amount of energy and give those people the same feedback that you're constantly giving us, because that is where the pen hits the paper. That is where that legislation has to happen. And I'm happy to get on that bus with you and carpool or do whatever needs to happen. But I would like to see those energies focus on the people who actually have the power to make that change. Because as far as city council and the city of Wilmington being in support of it, I haven't heard anyone deny that they would want this to go forward, because it is time for a change. So that's just the point that I want to make to the general public. You know, let's get on the bus, let's make it happen. But lobbying us isn't going to make the changes. We're already on board. We're not the ones you need to fight. It's down there that the fight has to be taken. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Brigida Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to let my colleague know, Mr. Councilman Johnson, that I am in full support of him. And it's a saying, either you stand for something or you fall for anything. So we stand for something in the city of Wilmington, and this is what we need. Like they said, our hands are tied. The state makes that decision, but if we stand together, we can get this, we can possibly, hopefully change some minds. So just know that Wilmington is standing with our constituents and our people, the Black and brown people. We're standing for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you. I'm not quite clear. I support this legislation and I support the changes to the LIBOR law, but I thought that this resolution was also saying that we are going to form a citizens review board. And hopefully that's what we're going to do, even though we won't have the power that the community thinks we will have. And we definitely won't be hiring or firing police officers, and we won't be able to discipline them. But I think it would help the community. And I think people would be very grateful if they had a review board that they could come to and talk to and go over what they do know. They can't find out other things, but maybe just from the facts and videos and things that come up, they can put pressure on possibly getting the police department to cooperate. I mean, voluntarily, not with any legal backing. So I really hope that we go forward with the review board with its limited powers, but it'll give the community a voice. And like you said, we're supporting our Black and brown people and all of the community, everyone that has had problems with the police or have some concerns about our police department. We're here to support their concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And don't see any other hands raised. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, just for the fact that I do believe that we have to send a message to Dover. We have always sent resolutions to Dover when they may fall flat, but at the same time, we are still sending a message. And I think that is extremely important for this resolution, that we as a council send a message on behalf of our constituents. If it passes or if it doesn't pass, if Dover acts on it, they don't, I think that we need to do our part and act on behalf of our constituents. I don't think that we should not do this just because we know that we think that it might not pass. We know that it might not pass. And with that, I will go back to our sponsor, Councilman Johnson.
Right, very well said, everyone, and thank you. And I don't have much to add, except I do want to point a clarification, as Councilmember Gray brought up. Our ordinance has passed already, okay? And we still expect to set up our citizen review board, and that, in fact, administration is in agreement with that. We need to set up a board. Now, the powers the board will have will be very limited, and that's going to be a key. It will be in terms of policies and practices, and consulting with the department on that, and working on communications and community education. That may be the initial touchstone that the board's going to work on, because again, you know, the board won't have access to investigative records. That's not okay. But as the city of Wilmington officials, that's all we can do. Our hands are tied, and we at least get the ball rolling. We get the ball rolling, and we keep this we keep the thought in the atmosphere, because I'm fed up. I know everyone on council is fed up. This has to end. The cycle has to end, and we're not asking to be exceptional, even though we should in Delaware. We're trying to catch up. If you look at our neighbors, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, they don't have a law enforcement officer bill of rights. and the fallacy that the sky will fall, officers will be getting in trouble en masse. That is a lie. That is a point blank lie. If you hear otherwise, that's not true. There's no state they can point to where that actually has happened. In the 45 other states that don't have law enforcement officer bill of rights. So again, we need clarification. We need facts on the record. So we're going to try to have a board to see again what we can do, but we will not back down as council. Along with public safety, improving our education. This is something that we are dead set focused on and united as a council. And with that, I ask for a roll call vote.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
No.
President Congo.
Yes,
8 yeas, 1 nay,
declared adopted.
and 4 absent.
Okay, thank you. Declared adopted.
All right. Okay, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for first and second reading.
Ordinance 22-023, Agenda 0164, in order to authorize and approve the contract between the City of Wilmington and Newcastle County Council for the live streaming and broadcasting of county council meetings.
First reading of the ordinance.
In ordinance to authorize and approve the contract between the City of Wilmington and Newcastle County Council for the live streaming and broadcasting of county council meetings.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. That's all the items I have tonight.
All right, thank you. Council Member Cabrera,
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Council Member Mills,
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Council Member Walsh.
No legislation, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. At this time, we will go to petitions and communications, starting with Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. My communication tonight is especially out of concern and because a few concerned residents have contacted me. It seems like there are ex parte meetings at Councilman Walsh's house and Councilman Johnson's office. This has been going on for months. There's been gossip within council, among staff, among
Out of order. Wow.
So
childish. That is so childish.
These meetings are held with specific council persons and other council persons aren't invited. This is possibly a FOIA violation. It is unethical and it's been going on. And the fact that the public now has caught on to it.
Point of order, Council President. Point of order, Council President.
Yes.
Give him a point of order, please.
Yes, may I have a point of order, please, Councilwoman?
Yes, the point of order, this is he say, she say, and we are council members. I mean, and have some class about yourself. I mean, I don't know anything about this, but just to come out and put that in. I'm talking to the president. If you was a judge before, you should know about point of order. I'm directing the president. He is the president. Thank you. President Congo, my point of order is this is very out of order for he say, she say with no facts. That's something she could call you on the phone with, but to put this out here like that, like this is really her petition and communications. It's very childish, immature, and very inappropriate for a council person to be talking of such matter like this. I mean, petition communication is really about your community activities, which is civic association, not about some he say, she say, like we're in the 12th grade. Are you kidding me? That's inappropriate. And if she wants to continue, let her continue.
Thank you for your opinion. I have my
Yeah,
3
I'm
minutes.
I'm still talking to the president, and she still doesn't know. Read Robert Rules of Orders. When you say point of order, the president says, you say it, I finish it, and then let the president say what he says to me, and then you talk. If you was a judge before, if you know your Robert Rules of Orders. Thank you, Mr. President. And now you let him say whatever he says, and then you talk. And stop being rude.
I thank you, Councilman Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for your opinion. And rude doesn't even discuss what you and Councilwoman Walsh have done over the past month. So, and I know Robert's Rules of Law, and I also know the law. And when you say point of order, there is supposed to be a vote.
Okay, go ahead, Mitt. Go ahead and talk to your point. You don't talk to me if you know point of order. You don't come back to me. You don't know your point of order.
I'm not talking to you. I'm trying to finish, but I'm addressing that I do know Robert's rules. And
you would continue with your conversation. You wouldn't continue with me if that's where you want to go with it. If you know you're right, you go back to your subject. Read your book. You don't talk to me.
Councilman Oliver.
Yeah, if you're not, you got to talk to her. She got to go back to her subject, not to me. I have the book in front of me.
Mr. President?
Yes.
May I continue?
Yes.
Okay. These meetings have been going on for months. They are unethical. They're a violation of FOIA. And if we want to discuss proof, then I can just go to the ethics board. But I was hoping that people have enough value and honesty that these will stop. They only include certain council members, and this is ex parte conversation. And I'm not asking for facts, but if that's what they want, then we can make this a legal matter. I was just asking council members to be ethical and to do what is right, which is not have these ex parte meetings where they're discussing legislation or other council business. And people are finding out about this. This is a small town. So even though you say it's gossip or whatever, gossip usually has some truth to it. So I please ask that this stop now before we have to take it further. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gray. Yeah, I'm not sure if conversations between council members is a violation of FOIA, but I don't think that's something that we want to try to figure out during this meeting during petitions and communications. I do see your concern, but I don't think that, I'm not sure if there would be a violation of FOIA if council members do get together, and I think there has to be a majority of council members. So if that's the case, that would be a violation. But if not, I just think that we need to probably handle this offline. But
thank you, and I'm willing to handle it offline. But I think our FOIA is 3 people because of our committee structure. That's what
That's not true.
No.
That is not true.
Not true,
That is not true.
but she knows the law. Mr. President,
yes, we're going to move to Councilwoman Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to thank you for conducting this meeting very professional and appropriate. Petition Communications, I would like to thank TTW Church from Newcastle for giving out a lot of food this past weekend over to Price's Park. They gave over 200 food boxes, and food is very high right now. Everybody know inflation is high, but they were very happy. The constituents over there were very happy, and I was very appreciative because they have not only served the 3rd district, they've served the 4th, the 5th, I think even maybe in the 1st, I'm not for sure, but they had a list of districts that they have served. And sometimes the council members don't even know about it. I think they were over on Maryland Avenue, and they stop at various districts, and they don't know it. They're just a spiritual church that gives back to the community, and they work with Ken Livingston, and I really appreciate it that they contact me and ask me could they meet up with me, can I show up, and they did some work before 11th Street Bridge. But long story short, I like to give kudos to Mr. Dave and Bernadette Mills for working through the whole city and giving back to the community. Secondly, I'd like to thank my niece, Lillian, working with Descending Queens. They took a bus to a museum in Baltimore. She's done so much, but I know they called me the other day, and I was able to donate some food boxes from Waltz for their bus tour. And she really does a good job, and she's over in the first district, and she's constantly trying to get some support. So I did give her Councilman Mills information at large, because I think Nominee has been very supportive of that organization in the past. Lastly, I would like to thank all of the civic associations, the neighborhood plannings, and the 3rd district. I know it's going to continue throughout the city this weekend for the Citywide Cleanup. I won't be around, but I know a lot of people have reached out. We send an email. Andre, Wayna, and Christian Kirkland, along with some other ones, Sue Grimes, they have received all their bags and supplies from constituent services, and they are very happy. And I'm just glad to be able to have supported them in the Vanderbilt Avenue Association with Carla Davis. And it's just a lot going on. And I'd just like to thank everybody in the 3rd district and Old Brandywine Village, Peg Tide and Jim for doing their own thing on a regular basis. And thank you, Mr. President, for everything you do. And that would be all tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Fields.
Yes, thank you. I just want to mention again, you mentioned it earlier, Council President, that Mount Salem Church, they will be celebrating, what is it, 125th?
75.
Oh, 175th church anniversary. And Mr. Holden, or Pastor Holden, he reached out to me because he used to work with my mother on Model Cities, and he asked me to come to the services. So I'm going to go to that on Sunday. So, he is welcoming everyone if they want to come to that service. And also, I do want to mention the community cleanup. I want to thank all the civic associations and all the community centers in the 5th district that are participating this Saturday in the community cleanup. I was just really happy and excited to see how many people decided this year to play a part. And they all said because they see me in the community, so they wanted to be in the community. So I just thought that was so awesome. I also want to mention on April the 27th at the William Hicks Anderson Community Center from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The Woman Learning Collaboration will be at Hicks. We have childcare and we have food. Again, this is the opportunity for the parents to, just to voice their opinions on their children's education, how they're learning, what they would like to learn, and make sure that the Black and brown children in the city of Wilmington are still having to get the same equal opportunities that the others do. And last but not least, Mr. President, I would like to read my quote. Maturity doesn't mean age. It means sensitivity, manners, and how you react. Author unknown. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Fields. I appreciate your quote of the week on this petitions and communications. So I am going to ask that moving forward that I'm not here to censor anyone, but moving forward, I hope that we can handle our internal matters internally and not involve the public. We want to be respected as individuals. We want to be respected as a body. And hopefully, I'm just going to ask that respectfully, no one respond to the earlier petitions and communication, and hopefully we can handle that offline. But again, I'm not here to censor, just asking that on behalf of what I think our community wants and deserves. Thank you. Councilman Johnson. Councilwoman McCoy did ask to be excused. So Councilman Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would just like to add on to what Councilmember Fields says. We have a joint West Side community cleanup. There's going to be a lot of folks out, so please come out. I'll be there as well, as I know Councilmember Fields will be there. And so let's try to figure out how we can continue to not only enhance our neighborhood, but then continue to beautify beyond that. So I'm really excited as well, and the weather looks pretty good. On another housekeeping note, there is, of course, the Finance and Economic Development Committee budget hearings. I continue this Monday. Please stay tuned, as the next 2 or 3 weeks will be very critical. Actually, the next month until we pass the city's budget. So a lot will be happening, both obviously behind the scenes and of course at our public hearing. So please continue to be engaged and submit your ideas. We are still taking ideas and proposals for ARPA as well, for the federal ARPA fund. So that deadline has not passed. So please continue to email either council directly, either me or council president, and submit your ideas to arpideas@wilmingtonde.gov. And last but not least, I would like to just briefly mention, and it will be a more standard story, but this past month, we were fortunate to be invited by the Embassy of the Middle East country of Qatar. So a delegation of Wilmington officials was able to attend the small group along with the mayor. And I can say is it was not only a rewarding experience, it was a very educational experience, as we really learned a lot about what we could do as a city. There's some expanded things I'm going to talk about, but namely one of the key priorities was meeting with their prime minister, actually, of commerce and industry. And they are looking for an investment in the United States. So that's one aspect that we will provide more details as they become available. They actually are looking to get involved in some housing projects, particularly some affordable housing projects. They are a small country in the Middle East, but very mighty. And they now that we have a friendship agreement with the city of Doha, there's going to be a free flow of communication between all of council and the leadership of that country. So I would say it's a very valuable trip, very quick trip, as they, their invitation was short in terms of how long we were there, but it was very educational, and I look forward to bringing the strategies they implement there and bring them here. So again, stay tuned as we flesh out some more the follow-up from that visit. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to remind everyone that it is Earth Week, and there's a lot of Earth Day events. And of course, the cleaning of our neighborhoods is one of them, taking place in different neighborhoods throughout the city. And after you're done with your morning cleanup, helping us get the city nice and clean and contributing to Earth Day, from 1:30 to 4:30 on Market Street Mall, downtown on Market Street, there will be the Wilmington Earth Day in Open Streets Market Street, and that starts at 1:30. So come out, celebrate, be in fellowship. There's plenty going on. Saturday morning, the Roberto Clemente League is celebrating their opening day, and that happens on 4th Street at Woodlawn Park, which is right after Union Street, block down, a few blocks down. And we invite you to come out and participate and just cheer our young people. We have grown. The league has definitely grown. We have girls, boys, all ages participating, all walks of life. So it should be a wonderful weekend. The weather's going to be great. So take an opportunity to come out, maybe even do your own cleaning with the children in your own blocks. It doesn't mean that you don't participate formally with one of the community groups. You can just, walk a few blocks and pick up some trash and just keep Mother Earth in mind, and the fact that there's so many resources that we depend on, and we need to treat her better. And if anyone wants to venture to DC, they are having a rally on climate, on equality, and a lot of different things that we want to celebrate on this Earth Day. That'll be it for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Mills.
Yes, Mr. President. I too wanted to talk about this citywide cleanup. I'll be working in conjunction with the Harlem Park Civic Association. We'll be meeting at PS at 9 a.m., PS Pool at 9 a.m. We're going to be cleaning up some areas in the 1st and 2nd district. And when I finish there, I'm proud to say I'm going to go over and do some work with Councilwoman Brigida Fields over in the 5th. So thank you to all the council for all the work we're doing in the community as well. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maria kind of said all the celebrations that are going on this weekend, so I won't get on the back of them. But contrary to your asking, not for anything to be said, you know, once your name is turned out badly, that's all people remember. They don't remember what was behind it or whether there was any truth to it. So because you didn't intervene and stop her for just being a major sinner of bad etiquette, I have just a couple of things to say. And that is for somebody who knows the law, to think that a gathering of 3 council members is breaking the law, the FOIA law. Well, to me, it says a whole lot about what part of the law you think you know. It's 7 members. And ironically, Mr. President, last year, the year before, I guess now, you participated in one of those meetings at my home. And we had 7 people there. We had 8 people there, but none of them were sworn in. So they weren't council members yet. So we weren't violating anything. And that was after our frustration that your team had met with the likes of several other council members whose name I'm not going to name tonight, and gave them all sorts of committee seats when they weren't even capable of running some committees, and gave them all the rewards that they probably earned supporting you. And that's okay. But we decided to form a separate side. And we didn't go behind your back. We brought you over to my house and we discussed with you what we were going to do. We weren't trying to catch you in some type of trap or embarrass you. So now let's fast forward. As many people know, I have a physical ailment going on, and I am not allowed outside of my house, that I am quarantined, which is why people come to my home and meet many times. Do we have meetings here of 2 or 3, 4 council members? Yes, we have. But we have not violated FOIA in any way, shape, or form. And we have gotten some good working groups out of that also. So I'm not going to sit here and just because I decided not to play in her playground and act like I'm a 12-year-old all the time, she decides not to report it to the Ethics Commission. Why? But she decides to put it on a TV tape. That makes a whole lot of sense. There's a whole lot more I could say on this issue, but I'm simply not going to do it. I'm not going to belittle myself by letting for 1 minute any information that she gives out is going to upset me. The only part that does upset me is the part that is not true. And that's all I have to say this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Again, I want to apologize to the public for this evening's petitions and communication. I think that we have to do a better job of handling our internal concerns internally. So I do think that Councilwoman Gray spoke out of concern, but I think again we could have handled that internally, and I think the same for Councilwoman Walsh. I know she wanted to defend herself, but at the same time she added to the fire. I'm not sure why she brought my name into it, but she did, and I think that was wrong also. So yeah, I think that we have to do better as a council, do better as individuals, and when we have concerns, I think that we can address them directly. And I think that we have to do that on behalf of our body so that we are respected by our community who elected us into these positions. And I think that we have to do that out of respect for our community members who don't really care to watch meetings as they have in the past when we are attacking each other. I think there's way too much work to be done in our city for us to spend petitions and communications attacking each other. I just think that we have to do better, and I pray that we do on behalf of us as individuals, as a body, and on behalf of our community. We don't want to be remembered as a council who just people come in, people tune in just to see a circus. We don't want to be a part of that. I'm going to do my part. I'm asking all council members to do their parts as well. With that, I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Again, beginning next month, our meetings will be back in council chambers. So I would like everyone from the public to be able to come down and join us and give public comment. Council members, health exceptions aside, you will be expected to be in council chambers. The public likes to see us and will be able to talk to us. So I'm looking forward to that. If anything changes, we will update you as soon as they do change. But right now, beginning in May, we will have all committee and all council meetings in council chambers and in our committee room. I want to thank WITN and thank our staff on the 9th floor for continuing to do a stellar job for us as a team. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Move.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.